Jacob says, I need help. Meta ads are not performing well. My creative is as follows. Only serving on Meta newsfeed. Your feedback is appreciated. We've only got 2 leads after spending $140. One has closed. Colton says, does anyone use Go HighLevel for clients' monthly payments? If not, how do you collect payments from clients? Andrew says, for those of you guys running paid ads for clients, do you charge a small month setup fee? What's up, guys? I think that worked. Not really. I'm not really sure. Facebook always has this weird delay, but I think we're in. I think it worked. There we go. We're live. Woohoo! Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate all the good stuff you guys are building. This agency hangout just keeps getting cooler. I think the quality and caliber of person in here is just second to none, and I'm super thrilled beyond that because you guys are just the coolest people, the movers and the shakers. I can't stress that enough. Love you guys, appreciate you guys. We are a day late today, and that's just because we had a family getaway on the weekend. It ended up going a day late because we had some car troubles. It turns out it was actually the simplest thing in the world. We got a new key. We had to buy it from the dealership. It was I don't know, $200. And a little plastic piece broke out in the middle, fell out, and I didn't know that, but there's a sensor in the middle when you turn on the key, and the car wouldn't start. So the car would turn on and then sputter and turn off. And turns out we had a mechanic look at it, and all it was is just put the thing back in the plastic and turn it on. So one of those kind of days, but we had a really good time. Quick little announcement before we get rocking and rolling. For those of you guys who are interested in the Wolfpack, as I mentioned, we are about to change to a wait list for a little while as we kind of get full. I see my man Paul is here. Good to see you, brother. For those of you guys who've been interested in that, I believe the smartest, fastest way to get what you want is to make offers for people who already have it and collaborate and co-create with them. I think it's a much faster way to get what you want than trying to build from scratch, which is what everybody does. In the same way that you could build a house from scratch, or you can make an offer for one that already exists. And if the goal of your life is to live in a house, you can get there a lot faster. And so part of my goal is to show you guys how to get there better, faster, easier, with less mistakes. For those of you guys who are interested in that, you can check that out. BeyondAgencyProfits.com/Wolfpack. Now let's get into the good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, excuse me, I got a little dry throat from the desert. Let's do that as attempt 2. This is a giant thing of water, by the way. I know it looks like I'm just chugging coffee. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings you our weekly Q&A. You guys are here for the dad gun show. Try not to be impressed. Let's talk agency goodness. We got Richard who's up first. He says, hey, Frankie, enjoy the holiday. Question for the next call. If I were to use Pitchlane software for cold outreach to local businesses, could you help me with that? What would be the framework? Should I just send out a quick hand raiser video asking for them to reply if they're interested, and then follow up with a Loom video with a payment link for the service to ask for another reply after the Loom if they want to sign up, and then send a payment link for the service? It has a 14-day trial if that makes any difference. For those guys who missed it, Pitchlane is a software that allows you to create one single Loom video that then gets personalized in thousands of variations using the power of AI. Richard is here, man, and we're talking your question. My dude. So with Pitchlane, for those of you guys who didn't see, it's like you would create one video and it would automatically add the client's website and the client's analysis in the background. And so you can send 1,000 videos and it's unique to everybody, but from an effort point of view for you to create it, it's just one video. So I hate to be an evangelist about cold outreach because I believe there's always more than one way to be successful. So I'm not saying don't take any of this as gospel, but I'm sharing what works for us and what has worked for us for 20 years. Cole says from the top ropes, baby. That's the elbow right there. Boom! Finish it. Or if you want, Cole, I think you should be the guy holding the guy's legs open so Daddy can do the diving headbutt to the groin. That's a conversation for another day. So my formula for outreach, and just so you guys know, what I'm mimicking is stuff that worked in real life. So for a lot of years, or I shouldn't say for a lot of years, but I've sold stuff face-to-face. So I sold Cutco knives. I don't know if you guys ever sold Cutco knives. I had to sell those face-to-face. I sold chocolate bars door-to-door. And those are the two that just kind of come to mind for sales jobs and things like that. And I say that because I don't think enough people realize what it's like to actually be standing from somebody across, and you get instant feedback that allows you to then calibrate. Sometimes that feedback is really, really harsh, just so you guys know. So what I found is the stuff that works best is almost like if you bumped into a friend at a barbecue. And so I'm a big believer in my process is really, really simple, which is coffee date, like let's get to know each other a little bit. First date, let's work together on a small paid assignment. Marriage. Where I think people screw this up is they try and go straight to marriage. So for me, coffee date is really, really simple. The point of outreach is to get a coffee date. And a coffee date is, I just like to send you a little information. That's it. And the thing that is tried and true in SEO that has worked forever and will continue to work, and it's not very sexy, just so you guys know, is let me run a deep dive analysis. I'll tell you how you're doing, kind of versus your competitors. So as far as what I do, it's a simple combination of personalization, which Pitchlane allows you to do at scale, plus, hey, if you be open to it, this is the most non-threatening way in the world. I'd like to run a free analysis. Now, what do you put into that free analysis so that you actually go from, hey, I'm interested to sales? This is where you offer the first date. And the first date comes in the form, I'll tell you, if you want to pre-sell services, especially SEO services, the best thing you can do is very black and white, cut and dry with data, is show them, here is where you are, here is where your competitors are, and these are the numbers that specify why there is a difference. And there's a very powerful, kind of embedded emotional trigger in that. Local businesses, especially for those of you guys who work with brick and mortar, this is true of all businesses, but especially brick and mortar. They know all their competition by name, and they fucking hate them. They hate them. Hate them. Like when I worked in legal, their version of that is, that guy, he's a terrible fucking lawyer. He doesn't even fight cases. He's never even tried a case in his life. He's the worst lawyer. You're telling me that guy's number one in Google? Right? So that's the emotional reaction you're looking for. And the way you do this as an analysis, you go, run the numbers. Here's how you're ranking. Run your competitors' numbers. That's how they're ranking. Do you notice you're behind them, and there's a reason for their gap, and it's these 3 to 5 numbers are the reason. They have this many backlinks, or they have this many reviews, whatever those things are. And then the sales process is your plan to fill that gap. What would you do to get them from there to there? And usually it's just SEO basics. Like I would make sure to get you 50 more reviews by reaching out to your past people, or I'd fix your name, address, and phone number, or I'd better optimize your website because it's kind of a shitty website. Whatever it is you're going to do to fill that gap, and it's the fact that they're behind that competitor that actually drives the sale, just so you know. It's like a fucking, that guy is the worst plumber I've ever seen in my fucking life. So you have to specifically mention them by name in that process. And then, this is the part nobody really wants to do, but chances are, a lot of SEO is a replacement offer, meaning that they have somebody and they're probably not ready to fire them at the exact moment you contact them. If you contact 100 people, maybe 1 to 3 of those people are actually in the market right now today looking for an SEO person. Maybe 3, let's call it 3. So the other 97 you're going to get in the follow-up. In the follow-up, the way you do that ethically, in my opinion, is you actually add value, and you add value in the form of information. So if you create Google reviews, explain to them, I made you a little video on how I'd get you Google reviews. If you do optimizing their Google business place, make a little video explaining, or make a little Google document, send them that, and you just nurture those things over time. I compared this to a tomato garden. I started growing tomatoes, and Cole says, fuck that guy. Yeah. I started growing tomatoes, and just so you guys know, I'm real good at killing plants, but I successfully have grown tomatoes. Okay? Tomatoes like this. This is how I compare nurture. You put a tomato seed in the ground, and you pour some water on it. And after a couple of days, there's a little seedling. You cannot eat any of those tomatoes, but all you do is you get up each day and you water it. And if there's a weed, you pick the weed. But for the most part, your only job is just water that thing. And then over time, what happens is you end up with a big tomato. Before you know it, you'll go, what are we going to do with all those tomatoes? So I believe the real money is made in the follow-up with the 97 people. And the way most people do follow-up is really bad, because they do so do you want to buy it? But what I believe is follow-up is really 3 things. Case studies if you got them. If you don't got them, don't use them. It still works without case studies, just so you know. Education on what the process actually involves and how you're going to help them with that. Answering questions. of like, how long does this take? Real basic questions too. We're not talking like $1 million questions. We're talking, how long does this shit take? What's it get? What do you need from me? Right? Like, how does this whole thing work? So I think the best way to use Pitchlane is to, and obviously you could probably still make money just with the 3 people who immediately are ready in the market. But I think long term, if you want to do it, like nurture the people who say, I'm interested. And this is marketing 101, which hasn't changed for 100 years. Get them to raise their hand and follow up with them till they buy the shit. And if you want to take this to the next level, what I would suggest is start with a good list of people that have proven to buy the kinds of shit. Most people don't think about this, but like say you work with dentists. A lot of dentists will never buy your shit. They'll just say, well, we've grown 10 years from referrals. Why would we pay you for a SEO service, right? So don't try and convince those people. Just work with people who do spend money on the kind of stuff you do. So I say that to you guys because that's how I would use Pitchlane. I'd get a little hand raiser. I'm interested in a free analysis. Once they get the free analysis, follow up with them. My favorite way, by the way, of doing that is direct mail because you can't opt out of direct mail. I can send you shit in the mail forever. And you can't say, fuck off, stop sending me mail, right? So it has a cumulative effect, by the way. People miss this in marketing, but the effect of nurture is cumulative. By the time you've seen 6 letters in the mail from me, and I'll tell you, I talked about this with our mastermind people, but in 2007, I started doing SEO. In 2009, my clients started getting cold outreach message and it started ramping up. So somewhere around like 2009, and I've had clients tell me they get 100 a day. That's 10, but like 10 times. 100 a day, right? And it's not just from us, by the way. The insurance people are pitching them. It's the real estate people are pitching them. The, hey, financial planners are pitching them, right? So most people that have been in business have been pitched 100 times a day. Like for real, since 2009. So I think most people underestimate how hard it is to get their attention. And the way you get their attention is with repetition. And I'm a believer that the more AI comes into the picture, the more it gets easier to create content. And we're not talking just us. There's fucking Netflix. There's 80,000 notifications on the phone, right? So there's all this stuff competing for their attention. And the antidote to that is just go a little longer. So I think the secret way of using Pitchlane is not just to send one message, but it's to like build follow-up and send like 10 messages in a row that are all just education and nurture. And I think what will happen is if you do that, every time you send 100 messages, you'll get 10 to 12 people to buy your SEO. Maybe not immediately. It's like a tomato garden. Like when they say I'm interested, it's just a seedling. You still got to water some of those. So yeah, you can make a living just with the 3 people who say yes, and there's a lot of marketers who do that, but I believe the smartest ones nurture those people, and I think using Pitchlane as a nurture tool is like next level. So anyways, I hope that's helpful, my dude, because I don't know, I think there's just so much potential in that tool. It's unreal, especially because people are going to see that and see themselves on their own website, and it's just relevant. Jacob says, need help, meta ads are not performing well, my creative is as follows. Let's see if we can tag the man Jacob. Sometimes it lets me tag people, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see if I'm broken. There we go. I saw him. Where'd he go? Jacob. There we go. Yeah. Whoops. This is so weird. When I try and tag people, it like... There we go. We got the guy. Okay, so let's go back to the question. Attempt 2. Take 2. Jacob says, I need help. Meta ads are not performing well. My creative is as follows. Only serving on Meta newsfeed. Your feedback is appreciated. We've only gotten 2 leads after spending $140. 1 has closed. So basically the offer is unhappy with your current house cleaner. Try us and get a 3-hour cleaning for $135. All right. I'm going to get on my podium and I'm going to rant. Okay. Firstly, if you're getting leads at $70 a piece for Facebook ads for a local business, that's actually a good number, just so you know. Okay. So I wouldn't push the sweat button. Now, the math may not work for the business you're in because it's not $1 in, $2 out or more, right? Like obviously they want to be profitable on these things. Now, here's the deal with that, okay? What most businesses actually struggle with is not offer 1 of getting people in the door, it's offer 2 of keeping them in the door. Right? Like, hey, we'll clean your place for $135. So you actually really, if you really want your clients to be successful, you actually have to figure out 2 offers, not 1. This is the first date, and you also have to help them figure out the marriage of like, hey, we can just clean up for you all the time, right? And so it's the same deal. It's like it's just nurture. Just make offers to the people who bought it one time. That's the thing they're going to struggle with, because if somebody pays you, like I think you said it was $135 or something like that, if they pay you that one time, but then they come in and get that once a week, every week for like 10 years, like the math works, right? Like if they're giving you $100 a week for 10 years, like you're going to be able to spend more on ads than if you just get them one time. So that's the first thing, is like, just understand you really have two offers you actually have to help your client with, not just Facebook ads. This is where people get it wrong. And you don't have to do this, just so you know, if you don't want to. But the side effect will be your retention will be through the roof, because people will make so much more money if you also help them with offer 2, which is hidden in there, which, by the way, is probably not going to be done with a Facebook ad unless you do it through retargeting. But it's probably going to be done just like an email or a text message or something like that. So that's the second part of the rant. Now, the third part of the rant here is your offer is meh. That's my honest opinion. Man, I'm not saying it's terrible. Like, I've seen definitely worse offers. It's a good introductory offer. Here's where I think it could be tightened up. It's not positioned around a real problem, so you're just giving deliverables. This would be like, come to our restaurant and we're going to feed you, right? It's kind of unspecific, right? It's the details matter. Like, feed me what? I want a chicken sandwich for $8.99 plus some fries. Obviously, I live in Mexico. You guys probably can't eat a chicken sandwich for $8.99, but we could probably eat 4 of them for that price here. So anyway, if you're thinking cleaning, okay, like there are lots of things. I have a cleaner who cleans my house a couple times a week. She comes here. Actually, her daughter is here right now watching my kids, and her name is Liz, and she's awesome, and I love her. And I'll tell you what I paid Liz for. Some of the things that we pay Liz for. Dishes. Hate dishes. Second thing we pay her for. Laundry. Fucking hate laundry. Third thing, cleaning floors. Man, I hate fucking cleaning. I actually hate all forms of cleaning. But like, I'm giving you some of the especially we hate kind of things. Kids make a mess, right? Like they just stain and put their grubby hands on windows and shit. My kids are fucking filthy, right? So there's 4 things you can potentially build an offer around. Like, hey, we'll clean all your windows free of grubby kids, or we'll do all your dishes for blah, 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 right? You're just saying, we're going to come here. We'll hang out for 3 hours. But it's far more powerful to talk about what is going to get done, not what you're doing. 3 hours is what you're doing. What's going to get done in those 3 hours? You'll make your offer so much stronger if you just talk about what is going to get done. Now, last piece of the rant, okay, is not all offers to all people are created equal. There's probably a spectrum. Like, I had a friend growing up, his dad used to own a cleaning company, and his bread and butter is he would get office buildings. So he would go into these office buildings once a week, and he would clean them at night and empty the garbages and do all those things at night when nobody was there. And he loved these jobs because they had a recurring element built into them, right? It wasn't just come clean my house one time for a spring cleaning. It was more like, I need you here every week because we always have garbages and we always have to empty it, and we don't want to manage this in-house, and we don't want to have to pay salary and benefits. Just come here once a week, empty the garbages, clean the office, wipe down the windows, and send us an invoice, right? So this is the other pieces. Your offer can be aimed at different things other than just residential cleaning. In fact, it could be, you could aim it at cleaning mansions. It's just as much advertising effort to aim it at cleaning mansions as it is to clean shacks, right? So that's the thing I would say is like really focus on the type of business they want to get. So those are like a couple of factors that are built in. Your offer is about what you're doing, and it needs to be about what's going to get done. Then secondly, is this the ideal person you even want in the first place? And then third, the real struggle they have is the second offer. And if you really help them with that piece, they're going to make so much more money, and they're going to be much happier, and your ads will go so much further, and it's not really a lot of work for you. It's just a text message of like, hey, if you like that cleaning, we can do this once a week for you, blah, 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 and we'd love to be your regular cleaner, and here's a special we have to try us out with 30 days guaranteed, or whatever it is you need to do. So I hope that's helpful to you, because I didn't think it was a terrible ad, mind you, but to make the economics work, there's more that goes into it than that. But it's usually just tweak some offers, my man, and I hope that's helpful. James says, hey everyone, I have a startup 1-year-old agency. I have about 27 projects in the pipeline. Feels like I'm going crazy. Sorry, there's a fly that just went by. I didn't just randomly clap. It was like a mosquito or some shit like that. I have about 27 projects in the pipeline. It feels like I'm going crazy. We help companies with websites, SEO, branding, social media, videography, ECT. I'm trying to find a tool to help me organize the tasks, notes, and communication with clients and workers. Currently, we're using Asana, but it's not keeping it up to date as I'm still not used to it. Also, while in a meeting, I keep a pen and paper to take notes. What do you suggest? How can I grow? James, I'm going to give you some really, really, really fucking counterintuitive advice, okay? So you're asking what tool do I use to organize it? And the answer to your question is not a tool. I'll tell you, almost always when people are stuck on something, as a general rule, there's an unhelpful assumption built into the question. Your unhelpful assumption is that the answer is going to be a tool. And this is Frankie Finn going, it ain't a tool. In fact, we use Asana, by the way. It's a good tool. There's lots of tools, by the way, that'll do it. I'll answer the tool question because it's a pretty simple question. Asana, ClickUp, Basecamp, Trello, Monday, Go HighLevel, they all work. It's just whatever like your preference is and how you like working. I like Asana because it's basically just like a checklist. It's just a to-do list. And you assign it to people and you get it done. Now, here's the deeper issue you have going on. You are doing too much shit, my friend. Way too much shit. Says, we help companies with website, SEO, branding, social media, videography. I'm going to illustrate this story, contrast to my first two agencies to kind of make this point, okay? In my first agency, we mostly did plastic surgery SEO, but I had some element of my agency, I'd probably say about 25-30% that was pure generalist. And the reason I did generalist is because I believed that all money was good money. And so if somebody showed up and said, can you build a website? Can you do pay-per-click? Can you rank a plumber, a butcher, a candlestick maker? My answer to that question was always yes. If the money was good, then I did it. And what ended up happening is I had all these 27 sub-projects just like you, and each one of those required a specialty freelancer. And I would always have to be hiring people and communicating with people and managing a mountain of shit. And when you're managing that mountain of shit, what happens is a lot of times you're trying to do it on a shoestring budget. Because if somebody's like, hey, can you build me a website? And you're doing it as a generalist, they're usually not paying you top dollar for that website or for that video or for that pay-per-click campaign. And so you got to like find cheap Indian help and things like that. So like that was part of the struggle. What I realized through this is that there is a hidden metric in the machine called energy. Okay? And so every time you deliver something for a client, there's a huge spike of energy, especially at the beginning. Like, so if you think about, if you ever had an SEO client, you guys can confirm what I'm saying. Like, it's a lot of fucking work when you first get an SEO client. But over time, that work lessens and you get into a groove. And it's a lot easier in month 12 than it is in month 1. In fact, most of the work is like month 1, onboarding them, back and forth, communications, getting rhythm, getting access to all their stuff, updating them, setting expectations, all that kind of stuff. And that's just one project. So I compare it to like when companies scale intelligently, McDonald's and Amazon, like for example, when they first scaled, they just did one thing. McDonald's only sold burgers. The fries and the Coke actually came later into the scaling process. And now obviously they have a big menu. But when they scaled, just burgers, one thing. When you're being a generalist, you're like a restaurant where somebody comes in one day and says, hey, do you guys make pizza? And you say, of course we do. And now you got to find a pizza oven. You got to find the specialty Italian flour. You got to get the Roma's tomatoes from a can, and you got to figure out where to get all that shit. And then next day somebody says, you guys make Chinese food? And you go, of course we do. Your money's good, right? So then you got to get a wok. You got to go to the Asian market, blah, blah, blah. When you're just making burgers, you go to the same place every time. You might have a butcher, for example, and you go get ground beef. You get the same ground beef at the same time every place. There's less problems to solve. So I contrast this. My second agency, we were one of the first people to run Facebook ads for personal injury lawyers, okay? And in the beginning, I had maybe like 20-ish clients that we were running Facebook ads for. Now, I want to explain the difference to you so you can really see the difference. What happened is, when we figured out an ad that worked for one client, what do you think we did for the other 19? Same fucking ad, right? Like, so I wasn't really solving 20 problems. I was solving one problem 20 times for 20 different people, right? And so what happened is, as we figured out something that would work, we shared it across every account. When we got like a script that was working, that was across every account. And so what ended up happening, and this blew my mind when I really got into it, but it's easier to manage 50 clients as a specialist than the 27 projects that you have. Is like 5 clients as a generalist is harder than 50 clients as a specialist. Now here's the crazy part, the part I wish I knew sooner. Part one is it makes you more money to do that, to be the specialist. And part two, this is the part that really baked my noodle. It's better for the clients. It's better for the clients because instead of like inconsistency in your machine, you pretty much are done the burger before they show up, right? Like if a client hires me, imagine client number 21 hires us for Facebook ads, I already got the working ads, I got the working targeting, I got the scripts, I got the funnel, I got the follow-up, I got the retargeting, I got the creatives. Like it's just push go and we turn on the account and it works almost instantaneously for them. Compare that to if I get hired by a plumber and the plumber says, do you do pay-per-click? Well, I could say yeah to that, but now I have to figure out new variables, right? I have to figure out new things. I have to solve new problems. And so I'll tell you, this is a hidden thing in the machine, and I'm going deep on this in book 2. In the beginning, I believed, like, there's the beginning right there. We'll do this fist bump. In the beginning, I believed that I was being paid to provide service and solve problems. And so I believed that, like, the value was me in solving those problems. Now I believe that the assets, the tools, the swipe file, the processes we have are the value, and I'm just the guy bringing it to you. And so what happens is I sell tools, systems, and processes and give you access to it. And it actually makes your offers better too. That's the crazy thing. Because like, for example, if I say, like, here's what being a generalist problem solver is. You come to me and you want to get a website built. And I say, well, we're going to have to go back and forth. I'll get you a mock-up. It'll take a couple weeks. I'll send it to you. We're going to go back and forth. We'll have a couple meetings. We'll talk about it. And then hopefully by the end of it, you'll like the website. That's step 1. Step 2 is if I already have a website designed in that niche that's working, like I already have an asset, you come in the door, I say, hey, I already got the perfect website for you. It's already converting. This is the numbers. I'm going to stick it in your flow, and it's just going to work, right? Like that's a totally different game. So I say that to you guys because, like, don't be the generalist doing all shit for everybody, thinking that your value is you and your ability to be so smart. Do less, but better. There's a book I would suggest you read, Essentialism by Greg McKeown. And the idea of the book is like diving deep on do less but better. Less but better. Don't do 27 things. Do like 2-3 things really fucking well, and everything else, those other 24 things, refer people out. And here's the thing is, once you start saying no to those other 24 things, and I know it's probably scary because it's like short-term cash flow, what happens is the people you refer those to will refer you back those 2 or 3 things that you want to keep in-house, and you'll get more of them, and you'll get paid more, and it's 1,000 times easier to manage. So this is my rant, but don't be a generalist. Don't try and cover that shit up with a project management tool. They all work. Try and do less, but better. I think a good agency has like 10 to 15 moving pieces, and that's it. Like a couple ads, couple landing page, couple hiring, couple communication things. Like it's really not a lot of stuff. So if you got more than 15 moving pieces, you're doing way too much shit. And even 10 is probably on the edge of like crazy. And I only say this from my experiences because in agency 1 where I was a generalist, I had like, I don't know, a lot of clients, but like I took emails all hours of the fucking day. Like Sunday night, Saturday morning, Friday evening, didn't matter, Monday morning, like there were fires to put out constantly. I dare say a good specialist agency is actually kind of boring. It's like a boring factory that just makes you and your clients money. That's where you want to get it to. So I hope that's a helpful rant, but you said you wanted to grow, and I don't think the answer to that is a project management tool, personally, even though you asked for recommendations. So I hope that's helpful. Colton says, does anyone use Go High Level for clients' monthly payments? If not, how do you collect payments from clients? I'm going to give you just one simple answer. I see our man Hetty. What's up, dude? Jacob's here. If you are going to manage client payments incoming, there's only one suggestion I have, and it's a don't. Do not collect client payments manually. Unless you want to drive yourself fucking crazy with accounts receivable and shit like that. Because you're going to chase people. I recommend just building automated tools. Easiest one to get started with is Stripe, PayPal. They have pretty high fees, but at the end of the day, they make collecting monthly payments super, super easy. Is like set it up automatically. Your clients can pay by ACH if you're in the United States. So it's like they have even cheaper fees. But you set it up so that it comes automatically. Do not chase people for money. So yes, you can use Go High Level for that. It doesn't really matter. As long as you have some automated tool that you collect, you will be better off than all the people who are out there chasing people manually. Our man Dapo says, I've had the privilege to learn from some successful agency owners, and here's what I found they all have in common. Always be selling, ABS. Do something daily that fuels business growth. Publish a blog, create an offer, network with people. Client-centric approach. Put clients at the center of everything you do. Happy clients equals advocates. This should be noticeable from your website to your social media and other touch points with clients. Embrace innovation. Be agile. Stay ahead by adopting new ideas. Always be testing new things, new strategies, new ideas. Think long-term. Delay self-gratification. Invest back into the business as much as it's within reason. Hire A players. Surround yourself with a stellar team. Your agency's performance depends on you and your team. Empower and incentivize them. Is there anything else you think I should add? Not necessarily anything else I think I should add, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper on that. With that, Dapple, I think, honestly, when I see people who are like perennially struggle at this versus people who like consistently win long term, is that focus of long term is such a differentiator. I can't tell you the number of times I see people who are so preoccupied with short term cash and trying to find a magic bullet to get short term cash that they miss all the real opportunity. And so an example of this is, like, say you contact 100 people about SEO, for example. Statistically, 1 to 3 of those people are ready to hire an SEO person today. 97 of those people may hire an SEO person in the next year, 2 years, 2 months, 2 years. But if you don't stay in front of those people and stay top of mind and have a long-term focus, you'll probably never reach them. So I see this phenomenon where a lot of people struggle and they try a niche and they try it for 30 days and they conclude the niche is the problem. And then they try I'm going to do a Go High Level SaaS. And then after a month, they give up. And there's a real hidden thing about having a long-term focus, because momentum is a real fucking thing. And I think momentum goes through 3 stages, okay? Stage number 1 is you got no fucking momentum at all. And it's effort. It's effort. It's effort. It's effort. It's effort to create momentum. And it sucks. Which is, by the way, why most people don't make it in business, because it's uphill effort and very little reward in the beginning. But if you stick with it long enough, you will eventually reach what is called momentum. And you'll actually notice the stuff you were doing 6 months ago is paying you today. And if you consistently go past that, you will reach what is called unstoppable momentum. So for example, when I first started our YouTube channel, nobody gave a fuck. 0 fucks given. You know who gave a fuck the least? The YouTube algorithm. Wouldn't even show me any love. Wouldn't share my shit. Wouldn't recommend it. Nobody watched our stuff. And yet, I kept making videos through the 0 momentum phase. And then eventually, you start reaching momentum. You start getting some comments. People start asking you questions. People start reaching out. Can I work with you? You actually start getting a little bit of business. And now you have a little bit of momentum. And that happened, by the way, 6 months after creating videos. Then you reach a stage where eventually you reach stage 3, unstoppable momentum. So for me, I built a machine that will keep growing without me, right? If I stop making videos and I stop doing this shit that I'm doing with you guys right now, the momentum from it is very real. So I say this to you guys because when people have short term, and it's usually caused by internal scarcity / desperation. By the way, nothing will keep you broke longer than fucking desperation. And we all go through stages of feeling abundant and desperate, but get the fuck out of desperation. Nothing kills relationships and business faster than desperation. But what happens is people don't get any real momentum. And so they hop from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, and they're constantly starting over and starting over and starting over. And they never hit momentum in any one thing. So when I see people perpetually struggle, and I'm not talking people who sit on the sidelines and never do anything. I mean people who are at this for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and don't get ahead. They just never crack momentum, right? And then when I see people who consistently win over time, almost always they're doing those little inputs consistently that you mentioned. So I from a marketing perspective, there's probably 3 inputs. To me, input number 1 is offers. You got to make offers. If you want to get clients and get paid, you got to make offers, right? And then there's input number 2, which is you got to get distribution. Whether you're doing that through content or you're manually outreaching to people or you're doing paid ads, like people have to see that shit. If you don't focus on getting it seen, nobody's going to see your shit. Nobody's going to buy it. And then obviously, like, you know, having some sort of systematic sales process that's simple and repeatable. That's the front end. And then from a delivery perspective of like having some sort of system to onboard people the same way every time so it gets done consistently. Having some sort of system to deliver results for client and it's the same way every time. Having some sort of system to communicate with clients and for the most part it's the same way every time. Then again, when it comes to hiring and building teams, having a system for documenting your processes, having a system for how you screen for talent, having a system for how you onboard new employees. Again, this sounds like a lot, but it's like 10, 12 systems in total. But all of those require a long-term focus because Rome was not built in a day. And so I see people, and Lane and I had an awesome talk about this on the boat where like we go to conferences and events and meet people and we see these people who like constantly are trying the next thing month after month after month after month after month after month. And their biggest mistake is not that any of those things don't work, is they just don't stick with any long enough to get momentum. And so that's my way of saying like, just pick some shit and stay with it for like 6 to 12 months. You don't have to be married to it forever, but like stick with it long enough that you can actually get some fucking momentum. Anyways, I hope that's helpful. Hetty says, what is the best platform to start email campaigns? Question, like you talking cold email campaigns, like emailing strangers? Or are you talking like email, like sending out nurture sequences to clients? Or like little context for what you're trying to do would be helpful. Andrew says, for those of you guys running paid ads for clients, do you charge a small month setup fee? You can, Andrew. You can charge a big month setup fee if you want. The biggest determining factor for that, to be honest, whether you're going to get it, is your confidence and certainty that you can deliver results. That's thing number 1. And then the second biggest thing is going to be like sort of like your reputation, you're perceived in the marketplace. Like if you're known as the guy who like can just make personal injury cases rain from the fucking sky, then you know people are going to be happy to pay you a setup fee. If you're some unknown and you're just in their cold email saying like, what do you think? They're probably not going to pay you a setup fee, right? So it depends on your place and your status in the market and also your certainty to deliver, because clients kind of intuit this without saying it. They pick up on your certainty that you can actually deliver on that. But that, for the most part, yes, you can charge fees, and it depends a little bit on all of those factors. Okay, Hetty says cold email. So what is the best platform to start cold emails? I'm going to give you something that I think is counterintuitive to what everybody else says in the market, okay? I have a mentor who says effective before efficient. So what he means by that is, I see this, okay, I'll give you, rather than tell you guys, I'll illustrate this as a story. I had somebody come to me, I don't know, like, I want to say like 2 years ago, and they had an offer that was basically like, if you're a business owner, hire me and I'll make you more profits. Now, I've been doing this long enough. I don't always know which offers will work, but sometimes when I see an offer, I can be 100% sure it's not going to work. And that is an offer I'm 100% sure it's not going to work because it's just too unspecific. Like, we're all business owners here. If I say to you, hey, if you're a business owner, I can increase your profits. Do you think he or she is talking to you? I don't, right? It's so unspecific and it's so vague. It like essentially means nothing to nobody. Now, this person wanted to automate before having it be effective. So what they did is they created a video sales letter for this offer. They created 50 follow-up emails for it. They created ads. They created retargeting ads, and they built this whole structure. And it took them months and months and months and months and months and months to build it. And then they found out what I could have told them from the start, which is nobody wanted it. And it's really, really sad because I don't want you guys to have to waste your time and things like that. So what happens is when it comes to like cold outreach or ad campaigns, people want to automate and scale because internet marketers want to sit in a bedroom and not have to talk to people before they have it working. But here's the reality of it, okay, is you have to actually get it working on a small scale, which means like getting it work with 1, 2, 3 people. So before you start like, how do I message 1,000 dentists, which is what everybody else preaches, I'm a believer of email one fucking dentist well, and you don't need any tools for that. You need a Google search and a basic free email, a Hotmail, a Gmail, a Yahoo, a Rocket Mail, whatever the fuck you guys are using. An MSN, I don't know, whatever your free email is, that, or your own domain if you got it, right? So I'm a believer in, like, let's get it working with one dentist before we think about, like, automating and scaling and tools, because people want to skip right to tools. Now, my favorite example of what to do once you have it is, I think most people underestimate how many messages it takes to break through with a stranger. And so there was a guy in a group that I saw the other day, and he had created, so this is what he had to do to break through. So he reached out to people in his audience. It took him 15 emails in 30 days to break through, and he sent one voicemail message, like a automated voice drop, once per week, so 4 in a month, and also sent a text message once per week. So 4 text messages, 4 voicemails, 15 messages, and they were all like value adds so that somebody could raise their hand. When he did that, it worked. Now that's a lot of work for one person, clearly. But then he turned that into a go high level process that now can automate those 15 emails, can automate those 4 text messages, can automate those voice drops, and now he can automate what's working. But if you try and skip straight to automation, which is where everybody wants to fucking go, everybody wants to know how to automate it. And so all I see is people messaging 10,000 dentists badly and going, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Well, it didn't work on one dentist. Why the fuck would it work on 10,000, right? So, like, really think about this on a small scale. Get it working. And then, like I said, there's tools like Go High Level, and there's probably, like, other ones that, you know, can assist you with that process. But before you get there, like, just get it fucking working. Like, people are crazy, and they want to skip to automation and numbers and scale. And almost always scale is a substitute for the fact that it's not working. Like, if it does, here's my test. Send it to 10 people. If your offer doesn't work on 10 people and they're known buyers, it ain't going to work when you send 10,000, right? So, like, you don't need to scale it. But whatever works on 10 people, like, lots of tools. Go High Level is probably the best one. But before skipping there, like, get it working on a small scale. And as I mentioned, especially like those of you guys who use cold email, I think most people underestimate how many messages it actually takes to get somebody's attention. Because for you send a message and it represents new business, it's hope, it's everything you're building and working towards. So it's probably the most important thing that's happening in your world. For a busy, successful business owner who gets 100 messages a day, your thing is barely a fucking blip. Barely a blip in the fucking radar. And they probably thought it for about it for like 5 seconds before they made the decision to move on. So I said that to you guys because the best tool is no tool. Just some free Gmail and some shit like that, get it working. That's my personal opinion. So obviously, like, there's more than one way to be successful at this. So I'm sure there's like somebody else who's like crushing it with tools. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big believer though in like figure out people on a small scale. Figure out like where the objections are, where it's not working. And a lot of times people don't realize when people don't respond, you can go back to them and say, hey, like, dude, I'd love your honest feedback. Like, why'd you tell me no? Anyways, Victor says, by the way, are you interested in having your own sales funnel so you can attract the right audience instead of reaching out to the wrong ones? I can help you. Oh, sorry. I missed the start of that. Let's read. Okay. I never send cold DMs to promote my business because I hate it when people do that to me, especially those that start with, how are you doing? This doesn't help build a relationship at all. Instead, I prefer people to state their intentions right away or start with something relevant and continue naturally from there. I've come up with a magic reply that works almost every time. By the way, are you interested in having your own sales funnel so you can attract the right audience of reaching out to the wrong ones? I can help you with that. Usually the conversation ends quietly and peacefully after that. I used to be sympathetic, but that's not how business works, and I don't have much time for it. What do you do with cold DMs that don't interest you? I actually send them my booked appointment bros video. Let's guys see that. Pure fucking shenanigans. But that's a story for another day. So I want to be clear about something here. It's not that cold messaging people doesn't work. It's that most people do it badly. And I'll tell you the biggest reason most people do it badly is because if you could dissect their beliefs, they believe the way to break through with strangers is with some sort of automated message or script, and they see people as a volume, numbers, credit cards with legs. Like, it's just a numbers game. By the way, it ain't just a numbers game. Not if you still want to be in business 10 years from now. It's not a numbers game. It's the right numbers are far more important than just pure numbers. But when people send messages automated badly, that's like, to me, just spam. Just straight up fucking spam. And so there's a tendency to think that messaging strangers is bad. And the truth of the matter is, there is tons of business that is done through cold connections all the time on LinkedIn and Facebook and things like that. And you'll know you've done this right when people say, you know, I don't normally respond to this kind of stuff, but. So I'll tell you where I believe most people miss the mark. I mentioned this earlier, but these are the 3 stages of business. Coffee date, first date, marriage. So coffee date is like, hey, like, got some ideas for you. That's my favorite way of doing coffee date, is give away valuable information to people. First date is like, let's work together in a small paid way and see if we like working together. And marriage, when most people do messaging, they go right to marriage and they send it badly. Like, and essentially it comes across as like a guy at a bar, last call, going, hey, do you want to bang? Do you want to bang? And they just go from person to person. You want to bang? You want to bang? Well, if you ask enough people, probably somebody will want to bang. Do you think that's going to be the best bang of your life? Like, probably not, right? Like the person who says yes. So business is relationships. Like, think about the stuff that would work in real romantic relationships. You would start with a coffee date. You would just talk to each other, feel each other out. Hey, you seem cool. Could I take you for coffee? I'd love to get to know you a little bit. Then maybe you'd say, hey, I want to take you out on a real date. And then you might say, like, go on a couple dates even. And then you might, like, hey, you seem cool. Do you want to go steady, right? Like, this is how, like, relationships ain't new. What's happening is marketers are trying to skip all of that with tools, and you can't skip human nature. So when it comes to cold DMs, I'll tell you the biggest 2 things people miss the mark. One is it doesn't feel like you're actually talking to me. It just feels like you just copy and paste, like, hey, do you want to bang script, right? So personalization goes a long fucking way. Talk about, this is what people care about, by the way, themselves, right? Like, you'd be amazed. Almost all of the interviews and stuff you guys have seen on this channel with some of the big ballers started with cold messages. I didn't know those people, right? Like, we had Onyx Singal. I didn't know Onyx Singal a year ago. I do now, right? Started with a cold message. So I don't want you guys to think that cold, but my opening message wasn't like, Onyx, quick question, if I could get you 20 booked appointments, would you want to get all the motherfucking booked appointments? It was him. Dude, saw you're launching this book. Saw you're doing this. I think we would have some synergy together. And then I proposed the coffee date. We'd love to create something cool with you. Right? So if you guys understand that, you'll never struggle with this, the way people do. The way outreach people do it is icky because they're just a guy at a bar hopping from girl to girl, which is very different than, like, you specifically caught my eye and you are interesting and I want to talk to you because of A, B, and C. Because I really like your hair and I'm just a sucker for red hair or whatever it is, right? So I don't know what those things are, but most people, like, skip. Automation is, like, in some ways, like, the death of our industry because people, it's been given to people who don't know how to use it. They don't know what to automate. They're trying to, like, just skip to, like, credit cards instead of understanding human nature. And if you understand human nature, like, the systems work across all these platforms. So I wanted to rant a little bit on that just because I don't think cold outreach is the problem. I think it's the way most people are using it that's the problem. You'll note when I send messages to people, very rarely are they like, fuck you, dude. Because almost always, like, I'm talking about them, the cool stuff they're doing, where I saw an opportunity for us to collaborate, what I had in mind, cool little coffee date that would be fun for both of us. Nobody ever goes, fuck you for sending me a cold DM, you son of a bitch. And you don't have to send a lot of those, by the way. You can be really strategic. You can do more with 1 to 5 messages a week than most marketers do with the tool that messages 10,000 people. Like, for real, just by knowing how human nature works. Anyways, enough of that rant. Marvin says, last question we got, unless any of you guys got any other ones. Marvin says, has anyone taken this approach in building $50,000 per month agencies before? I get a lot of interest from people who can bring me a specific network and want to partner with me, so we take over service fulfillment, branding, consulting in regards to all things marketing and AI. Have you partnered successfully, say, with a senior professional, RA agent, I think that's real estate, maybe not RA, financial advisor, dentist, or other professional in order to build agency brand just that way by tapping into their network? Would be great to read what experiences you made with such partnering deals. Marvin, not only do I believe that that is a good strategy, in my personal opinion, depending on how you're built, I think it is the best strategy. And I'll tell you how I discovered this strategy. The first 2 times it happened to me, we had exponential growth in our agency. And both times, to be honest with you, it was dumb shit luck where I was right place, right time. Now, I wouldn't say it's all luck, because I was fortunate enough to like keep taking at bats and keep taking reps and keep trying stuff. And therefore, like, those things found me because of those, but there was a lot of luck involved. So the first time I blew up an agency, by the way, I had a guy who was in the plastic surgery space. Now, I didn't know this. His name was Rick. And Rick designed websites for plastic surgeons. And his wife was also a plastic surgeon. And he went to every plastic surgery conference you can imagine, bought a booth. And when I say he sold websites, like he was selling like 300-400 websites a year, like almost a new website every day. And a lot of his clients at the time, it was still fairly new, but they were saying, do you do SEO? And he was having to tell them no and watch them go hire somebody else for SEO. And so he was looking to bring it in-house, but didn't know how to do it. And so he was looking at what is known today as a white label partner. Now, Rick came to me and said, I have this one client. He's a plastic surgeon. Do you think you could help me rank? And I said, yes. And he said, can I give you 30 days just to see if you can create some movement? I said, no problem. Now, I didn't know this, but he actually had hundreds of clients that he was looking to do this for. So I said yes. At the end of 30 days, it's kind of a funny story too, but I'll tell that another time. Maybe I'll tell you guys since we're here anyway. Back in those days, there used to be a thing called the Google dance, which is like you build a bunch of links for a site, and then Google didn't know what to do with you, and so its algorithm would bounce you around, usually lower, and then eventually you would bounce up higher after like, a week. And so I actually didn't do anything with that client for 23 days, built a bunch of links, and then they bounced out of the search engine rankings. On day 30, he was still out of the search engine rankings. On the start of month 2, he bounced back up and he was on the bottom of the first page. So I was like, hey, we took you from page 20 to the bottom of the first page, month 1. He was super stoked about that. So anyways, he ended up throwing a bunch of plastic surgeons at me. And this partnership turned into, when I say like a bunch of people, like 3 to 5 SEO clients a week, every week for years and years and years on end. And I didn't have to sell a single one of them. Like I just, hey, Rick, we got this new person, we got this new doctor, we got that new doctor. And that was it. Like we just signed clients like continuously, which by the way, challenged all my fulfillment and scale and teams and all that stuff. I got baptism by fire on all of those things because I didn't know a lot. Still don't know a lot, but I knew like far less on those kind of things back then. So anyways, that was my experience with that. Now, the second time I blew up an agency, I had a phone call with the guy who ran the Industry Association and Personal Association. Didn't know he ran the Industry Personal Association because we just talked about his law firm. At the end of the call, like I went over like 50 things he could be doing to grow his business. And I was like, he's almost doing all 50 of them. So I was like, hey, I turned him away. He came back to me later and said, can we do something together with my association? We did something. We ran a webinar, sold a bunch of his memberships. He liked it. Eventually invited me to speak on stage, invited me to all his masterminds. In a matter of 6 months, I went from knowing no personal injury lawyers to having connections with most of the top attorneys. I wouldn't say most of them, but a huge number of them, a large percentage of them, like 40% of the top injury lawyers. First name basis, shake hands, know who I am, and work with a bunch of them, and like would get clients from all the speaking on stage and events and things like that. And it was just, in both of those cases, the reason I tell you those stories, both cases, we simply blew up from knowing the right partner. That's it, right partner. So I say that to you, like I don't just believe this is a strategy, but I believe this is the strategy. And so I approach those partnerships same way: coffee date, first date, marriage. So coffee date looks like, let's co-create something together that's valuable for your people. This is the way you can always do it ethically. And the way I do that is I give away ideas that are helpful to their audience, knowing that most of them will need help on the implementation and come to me. So the easiest way to start those partnerships is just like, let's do something cool for your people. Hey, we got a funnel that's working for Facebook ads. Let's just show them the funnel and show them how they can generate their own leads. And you know what's going to happen? A percentage of people will say, that funnel was really cool, but can you just run that for me? So then first date looks for like, hey, do you think I could do this for like 2 or 3 of your clients? And they send them your way. And then marriage looks like, hey, I would love to put together a special package so we can do this for everybody. I believe this is the smartest way to grow the agency, because instead of having to chase clients onesie, twosie, you find out where hundreds of clients are already, get in front of them, and you direct a huge percentage of that flow to you. So I hope that's helpful. We have a whole process for that inside of the Wolfpack, by the way. I've got it down to template scripts. First thing we do is make a list. Like, it's just Google searches. Show you who are all the potential partners in your space that already have all the business you want to get. Then we have a script for, this is what you send them to go co-create something cool. They need content, just so you know. So they need you just as much as you need them. And then you go create stuff, and they distribute it in your audience for you, and people discover you, and then we close those people over 5-minute videos. And that's really it. And then it allows you, instead of having to cold message 10,000 dentists, you can just message the one guy who's already got a conference with 10,000 dentists and has a weekly podcast, and just say, hey, like, I got a really cool idea for your weekly podcast. He'll put you on it, and they'll take care of, like, making sure your shit gets seen by the right people, all the buyers in your space. So that's I'm a big believer in that process. I'm an evangelist of it because I haven't seen anything that's ever worked better in 20 years. So yes, not only is that a strategy, I believe it is the strategy. Better than Facebook ads, better than cold outreach, better than all of it. Maxim, we got the last question on the docket. He says, what objective do you recommend for hand raiser for Facebook ads? For context, I mean for the 5-minute Loom. So give me an idea how we do the 5-minute Loom kind of to cold, and just, you know, I'm doing a bunch of this with YouTube ads right now. So we have YouTube. A hand raiser, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with it, is an idea of, like, somebody says, I'm interested, tell me more. So, like, the objective of the ad is, like, I'm interested, tell me more. And then the more is the video. So I'll tell you, like, what will help you conceptualize just being better at this process, okay? A 5-minute Loom video is really just an offer. That's all it is. But in order that people actually get value from it, there is a middle portion where in 3 to 5 steps, you tell them how they're going to get the result for them. And so this is what I call the new and exciting plan. It's something different to what they're doing, and it shows them how you're going to get them from A to B. Now, the benefit of this new and exciting plan is that the plan itself actually has value. So if you're running Facebook ads, like in Maxim's case, and they're not working, and I say, hey, let me show you our 3 to 5 step process, or a 4-step process for how we create winning Facebook ads, even if there's an offer attached at the end of that, you're going to get value just from seeing the 4-step process, because you're going to go, oh, that's why these ads weren't. That's why I need to. Oh, I see you guys are targeting differently. I see, you know, how you guys are doing that. So the offer at the video, or the offer in the ad, is a summary of the thing you're going to offer at the end of the video. And there's a very important reason for this. Because if people won't raise their hand for the summary of the offer, they ain't going to buy it later. Okay? So for example, like if I say you get, like if I have an offer, like, you know, I'll give you a real one we ran. Motorcycle cases for injury attorneys, like, hey, let's get you some motorcycle leads starting today. In the next 90 days, we can get you a motorcycle case using Facebook ads. If that's the offer and nobody raises their hand and says, I want that, tell me more, they ain't going to buy it later. So the point of the hand raiser is you're really testing the actual offer. And so this takes all the trickery out of what most people do in Facebook ads, where it's like, you know, over the top guarantees and you know, trying to like get people to opt in for some shit so then you can sell them something else. Like, no, we're going to fucking directly offer the actual thing they have for sale, but it's a soft casual. If you want to find out more, drop a comment, leave us a message, fill out this opt-in form, put your info here, right? Like some form of like, raise your hand and tell me I'm interested, okay? Then what happens is we send the video. Now, it's important to understand when we send a video, we're not saying, hey, watch my video and see if you want to buy my shit. We're saying, I put together a 4-step plan to show you how to get this outcome. And you can do that, by the way, ethically for real, because you are showing them exactly how the process works. And if they want to go and attempt it on their own, not recommended, you've given them the playbook for how to do that, right? Like if they really want to go try it on their own, it's in there, right? So you're not holding anything back. The part of it at the end is you just say, like, if you want my help, if you don't want to do any of this, and you just want me to do it for you, this is what that would look like. So the process is like a hand raiser is literally just a summary of the offer. And then we get into the video, we show them a demonstration of what this offer will do for you. And then we describe who the person it is for. And then we give you the process for how we're going to get there so that you can logically and understand and see how it works. And then we say, if you'd like to buy it, this is what buying it would look like. And then we say, and if that's you, here's how to get started. That's really the whole process in a nutshell. Now, having said that, once you get it working and dialed in, I recommend adding follow-up and nurture to that, because a percentage of people, no matter how good you make it, just are not ready to make a decision today, but will be in the next 60 to 90 days. And so follow-up will only intensify that. You can do that with retargeting. You can do that with getting them to opt in. But I like to, and for very simple terms, make this real easy on you. I throw 50 or $100 at a Facebook ad, and if people don't raise their hand for the offer, they ain't going to buy it later. So I know in $50 or $100 whether or not we got a winner. But the flip side of that is, if you get 10 people who say, tell me more, for, you spent $70 on Facebook ads and 10 people say, tell me more, so $7 a person, like chances are that you will probably have some like stuff to troubleshoot and diagnose for a new offer, but they will likely buy that shit at the end of it. And so the whole point of it is like I said, it's just little hand raiser, just like, hey, I put together this offer. If you like more details, click here. Or fill out this form, or raise your hand, or drop a comment below. Or sometimes I'll do like, leave a GIF. Or opt in here, whatever it is, right? Like whatever your thing is. And then get into the format of the video right there. So that's really it. I know it's simple, it's not easy. And what happens is, these are just milestones I've experienced in the sales process over and over and over. Just so you guys know, a lot of the shit, before I figured out how to automate it, it came from like for me, like thousands of sales calls before I just started realizing like they all ask the same shit. Like, why don't I just answer those before they even ask them? Like, you'd be amazed at how many sales calls are people just wanting to know, how much is this thing? Right? Like, I don't want to talk to you for an hour. Can you just tell me how much it is? And all the evasion tactics of like, well, until I know whether I can help you, the answer is 0. No, just put it into a video and let them decide for themselves. And it empowers people as buyers, by the way, because now you don't have to sell them. They take the step towards you because they want to buy it. And your job is just to make that whole thing irresistible. And the way you make it irresistible, by the way, like this is not the whole offer formula in a nutshell, but if I wanted to simplify it for you guys enough where you could implement it, it helps to conceptualize irresistible offer as irresistible outcome. Okay? So for example, what most people do is they sell the deliverable. They sell the thing they're going to do, right? So like Facebook ads is a thing you're going to do. What's going to get done is a motorcycle case. That's an outcome. We're going to get you a motorcycle case. Or we're going to get you, 10 plumbing leads. Or we're going to miss call text back 10 people, and 1 or 2 of those are going to buy your thing, right? Like, I don't know what that is for you, so I'm like kind of talking a little bit in generalities. But if you think about your thing, and I saw it earlier. Earlier, Jacob had I'm going to clean your house for 3 hours. That's a deliverable. Nobody wants someone to come over to their house for 3 hours. They want the outcome. I want my dishes clean. I want my laundry clean. I want my shit-stained underwear washed and cleaned, and my wrestling boots all brand new. Or they want, like all the windows cleaned from where my kids put fingerprints. Like I got glass sliding doors everywhere. It's a thing in Mexico. My kids just press their fingers on it. So you got little grimy fingerprints, but all like 3 feet and lower. Like I'm not hiring you to come here for 3 hours. I'm hiring you to get something done, right? So the more you focus your ads and your offers on like, if I could get this thing done for you. You know what's funny about this maxim, by the way? We intuitively understand this as children, and for some reason, once we begin to learn marketing and sales and business, we muddy this up and it gets more complex. So when I was a kid, when we wanted to make money, there were 2 ways I knew how to do that as a kid, okay? And they're both kind of the same idea. So I say 2 things, it just depended on the season. In the winter season, I knock on people's door holding a snow shovel, and I say, you want me to shovel your driveway for you, and I'll get rid of all the fucking snow. And it's very backbreaking, and it sucks, but people pay you $10, $20 to shovel the driveway. Every now and then somebody super generous gives you like $40, $50. Not typically, but it does happen. Second thing is, You knock on doors and you say, you want me to mow your lawn? Same deal, like $10, $20, $30, pretty typical. And you drive around, you do that a bunch of hours a day, and you eventually collect enough money. Now, notice you don't say, quick question, if I could get you blah, blah, blah. And you don't say, hey, I got the shovel 9,000 blah, 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 super McDoohickey. Because you understand, the only thing the person wants is something done. They want their driveway shoveled and they want to not have to do it. They want their lawn mowed and they want to not have to do it, right? So you intuitively understand, like, this is what's going to get done. I'm going to mow your lawn. I'm going to shovel your driveway. When I'm done, your driveway will be shoveled. You're not paying me for how long it takes. You're not paying me for how backbreaking it is. You don't care what shovel I have. You don't care how nice I am. Like, you're paying me because you want the fucking outcome. So if you want to make the offer process simple, like, really think about what is going to get done with your process. And the more you have a specific niche and a specific person in mind, the better this, like, specific outcome will be. And you'll just nail it. Cole says, feel like you're raising chimps with anarchist tendencies. Get our house cleaning services. Dude, that would work on me. I'm saying that would work on me. Because I am raising chimps with anarchist tendencies. But I say that to you guys because, like, too many people talk about what they're going to do. And doing is like, well, I'm going to get out my shovel and I'm going to, go back and forth and I'm going to do this and I have a extra lifting. I lift with my legs instead of my back so you don't have to feel real bad. And it's like, I don't care. At the end of the day, like, before I leave for work, can you have the shit shoveled so I can just get out of my fucking driveway? Yes, I can, right? So that's all they're really after. So too many people miss the mark on this, and like almost like kid logic works. I'm gonna shovel your fucking driveway. When it's I don't talk about any of the shit along the way because they don't care about that. But then too many people say we're gonna do Facebook ads. To get done what? We're gonna do SEO. To get done what? We're gonna make you a website. To accomplish what, right? Like it's all about what gets done. So I'm ranting a little bit if I look at 100 agency promises, 90 to 95 of them are about what they're doing and not what gets done. And it's like, nobody cares about your shovel. Nobody cares about your lifting technique, right? They don't care about the Google review business places machine. They just like, okay, when it's done, am I going to have my phone ring 50 times this month? Yes, I am. Okay. That works for me. You're telling me for $2,000 you can make my phone ring 50 times this month. Yes, I can. All right. I'll buy that. Right? They don't care about all the things along the way. So too many people are talking about the journey instead of the outcome. So I say that to you because you'll make your life easier. Looks like that's all the time we got today. Appreciate you guys hanging with me a day late. As I mentioned, we had some car trouble on our trip. Turned out to be the easiest car trouble in the world. This just shows you, people say like, I've had people say, oh, you seem really talented at this marketing stuff, but I just want you guys to know I have a small window of talents, and automotive and machines and things like that is not one of them. So we have these two plastic pieces and a key, and inside is this like electronic sensory thing. And the plastic shitty Chinese 10 cents where the plastic broke and the thing fell out. So I went to start my car with just the key, and it would turn on. And then it go, and it would kind of like turn off. And I didn't know you needed that sensory thing. Probably there so nobody can steal your car. But I figured because it was like, 3 feet away that it would still work. It was, just sitting in the console. But nope. And so we had to call a mechanic over to tell me, like, stick the shit back in the key. There's nothing wrong with your car. So that was our weekend adventure. That was why I was a day late with this Q&A, like just being real with you guys. And I was poopy about it because I'm like, man, I got to pay for some $500,000 car repair, blah, blah, blah. I just got this new fucking key. And turns out I'm just an idiot. So anyways, appreciate you guys. Just before we go, quick little reminder. For those of you guys who are interested, by the way, in building those partnerships, Wolfpack style, where I'm talking the kind of partners, by the way, nobody really talks about this. The right partner, you can do $1 million a year, one partner. That's it. And then you don't have to like, and by the way, you can have 100 partners if you want. You're not like married to just one, but they're not super hard to get like most people think. And we have a systematic process for 1, how to figure out all the people that you should be partnering with. 2, what to say to them. 3, like what to co-create with them exactly so you look cool and you're adding value to their audience. And then what to do once they distribute all that stuff for you and people come to you and say, I want to work with you, how to close them over that, how to onboard them, how to hire and train people and build systems around that thing. The whole kind of soup to nuts A to Z machine. So for those of you guys who are interested in that, check it out, beyondagencyprofits.com/Wolfpack. Just because I'm reaching capacity personally, I love doing this. I could do this every day, but like there's only so much of me to go around. We're going to be closing the doors and building a waiting list for a little while until I just kind of catch up on some things. So if you're interested in joining, don't wait, because you'll be waiting probably a while. And for most of you guys, you just need one client. Like, we're talking about getting shit done. Like, paying for the Wolfpack is like, just get one person. And I promise you, we can help you do that a whole lot better, faster, easier, with less mistakes. So appreciate you guys. Much love. Happy Tuesday. We're doing this on a Tuesday, but may the force be with you. Guys, if you like this video, you're also going to want to grab some free bonuses, which you can get at our website, Beyond Agency Profits. To make it easy for you, I've put the links to it in the description of this video, as well as pinned in the top comment. And we've got a couple of awesome things. This is what you'll get after you sign up. You get some of our best training, how we're closing clients over Loom videos, how we sometimes sign clients that is not a misprint for under $5 US, how to demonstrate your value in like amazing ways, trainings, how to have your clients write the best copy of your life, how we're closing without phone calls, campaigns that we've generated for clients that have done over $100,000, as well as scripts you can use to get conversations going with clients in under 10 minutes. All you got to simply do is go there, enter your name and email address, and then this is what you'll see on the other side. So if that's interesting to you, make sure to click the links below, and I will see you on the other side.